Well, I think making art in general is about the visualization of ideas. And for me, my ideas have taken place largely in the context of the human subject. I'm interested in visualizing the human community in a broad range of contexts. And this notion that the work actually begins when you show up, when you're at the place that you're making the work, I think is pretty central to the way that I think about my work. Because one can't know exactly what's going to happen at the moment that you're there with the person making the work. Clearly there's a set of circumstances and reasons that motivates my desire to engage particular subjects, hopefully with very little preconceptions or assumptions. I know that there's something about the individual that I want to describe, both in terms of their own individual character, as well as my larger idea about their place within a particular social community. But that's the thing that motivates the work. The real spark of the work for me takes place when I'm there with the person, trying to figure out how to shape the experience of this particular individual to the space of the photograph that I'm making. And that has to do largely with being responsive to their individual gestural behavior, their individual psychological makeup. And I take my cues from the person in terms of what they do once they're in front of the camera, and I respond to that. And I think for me to direct them too rigidly would be more a kind of illustration of my preconceived idea of who they are, rather than trying to make a photograph that actually resonates with some idiosyncratic aspect of that individual. So I think, specifically in relation to working with the human subject and being responsive, making the photograph is a sort of conversation. I come, I look, and they speak back. So it's a two-way conversation that I ultimately shape visually, but the only way that that can be done in a meaningful way is to actually be responsive to what's happening once I'm there. And the most interesting things that happen, gesturally or attitudinally, are not things that I can or would even want to anticipate. There's no way to know. And I respond to that. So I have the idea which drives me to be there, but ultimately the work is about a response to that particular individual. More response than an illustration of my idea of the